Hi, my name is Ashley McCord and welcome to the Bread Beckers. Today we are going to be featuring the Zojirushi Auto Bakery Supreme Bread Maker. And in this video today I'll be showing you how to program your homemade cycle for a fully baked loaf of bread. So let's get started. First you're going to start by plugging in your Zojirushi. It's going to automatically pop up on the display screen with your small arrows pointing to the basic bread setting. This is a default setting in your Zojirushi. You're going to use the select course button here to cycle through each setting until the small black arrow points to homemade. You'll see that the display screen says memory 1. You actually have 3 memory cycles within the homemade setting for this machine. Today I'm going to show you how to program memory 1 for your fully baked loaf of bread. You'll notice that you have 3 memory settings for this bread machine within the homemade cycle. Today I'm going to show you how to set memory 1 for your fully baked loaf of bread. You're going to use the 2 small buttons here in the middle of the display panel here to cycle through and set your times. So let's get started here. You will find the instructions for setting the homemade cycle on pages 26 and 27 of the Zojirushi Owner's Manual. And the times that I'm going to give you today, you can find that in the Bread Beckers recipe collection under the basic 2-pound bread machine dough. So these are just the times that you're going to start with. This is our recommended starting point. The nice feature about the Zojirushi is you can actually adjust these times according to your house and the weather outside, the seasonal changes, and also where you live as far as within the United States. So we're going to get started here by pressing the cycle button. This brings up the very first cycle, which is a preheat cycle. Our recommended start time here is 18 minutes, so you're going to use the time button to take this up to 18. Now to lock this into its memory, you're going to hit the cycle button and you'll notice that the time will stop flashing. That means it's now saved in memory 1 as preheat for 18. Now we're going to move on to the knead cycle, and you just do that by hitting the cycle button again. Our recommended starting point for the knead is 20 minutes. So there again, we're going to use our time button to take that to 20. Hit the cycle button to lock it in, and the cycle button again to move on to the next cycle. This is Rise 1. You actually have 3 different Rise settings within the homemade cycle. Today we're going to put Rise 1 at 45 minutes. Now, what you saw there is I actually held down the time button and it goes very quickly, and I went past what I wanted the time to be. That's all right, you just have to keep going. The max time on Rise 1 is actually 24 hours. So we're going to hold that time button down so that it will continue to scroll through. Now this one in particular moves very quickly. So once I get to like 22, 23 hours, I'm actually going to let go of the button and just move slowly through here. So we're at 21, there's 22, there's 23, there's 24, and now it's back to off. So now we can go back, and we'll go one at a time up to 45 minutes. Now we're going to hit the cycle button to lock that in and move on to Rise 2. Rise 2, a good place to start, and it's listed in our recipe collection, is anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. I think that a good place to start is 25 minutes. Now this one, when you hold it down, it only goes by tens. So, and the max on Rise 2 is 2 hours. So it's not quite as bad as Rise 1 if you accidentally skip past your desired time. So we're going to lock that in by pushing the cycle button, move on to Rise 3. Typically, we don't recommend using Rise 3, so you're just going to leave that in the off setting. And we're going to cycle to bake now. A good place to start is 45 minutes. And by holding the button down, you skip by tens. and we have 45 minutes. The max time on the bake cycle is 1 hour and 10 minutes. So we're going to start at 45. We're going to lock that in and move on to the next cycle, which is keep warm. This is totally optional. If you would like to use this setting, you can. It's not something that we typically use on a regular basis, so we're just going to leave that in the off position. Now, if you hit cycle again, it'll take you back to the very first cycle within the homemade setting, which is preheat. Now that we have all the times set in here, I'm just going to push the start button here at the bottom. And now there is your total time, 2 hours and 33 minutes is your total time for Memory 1 homemade cycle. Now you'll be able to use the crust control button here to the left, and you'll notice the black arrow pointing to the light, medium, and dark, and you just choose which crust control setting you would like to use, and that's it. Now when you're ready to make your bread, you can put all the ingredients in your pan, put the pan in the machine, and you're ready to hit start. In 2 hours and 33 minutes, you will have a finished loaf of bread.